Hello guys and welcome to our 78th edition of the Trading Opportunities webinar. This is Nirav, and before I continue with the webinar, let me just quickly check the microphone at my end. Hello, hello, hello. Mic test, mic test. Hello. Let's see if it's going through. Mic test, mic test. Hello. Yep. So the microphone is working. So in that case, let's just formally begin the whole thing. 1 second. Yep. Here we go. So let's first of all get done with the formalities here. So quick disclaimer here on screen suggesting that all content presented here is purely for educational purposes. I'm not soliciting buy or sell. If you do go on to use the views presented here for your trading or investing, you yourselves will be liable for your profit, your loss, or loss of profit. With that out of the way, now let's head over to a very quick introduction. So guys, my name is Nirav. I'm the admin and owner of 50eyes.com website, as well as the 50 Eyes Market Analysis YouTube channel, where this webinar is currently being broadcasted live, as well as on the LinkedIn. I'm also the author of the book Think with the Markets, Secrets to Achieve 80% plus accuracy using Elliott Waves. And right now we are live with this 77th edition of the Trading Opportunities webinar. So in the past 77 webinars, sorry, not 77, in the past 76 webinars, we have captured 115 plus big moves. And what happened of our last discussion, we will check today. So basically, you can check all that I'm saying here by visiting 50 Eyes Marginals YouTube channel and heading over to live section, because these are all conducted live every Friday at 2 p.m. GMT and 7:30 p.m. IST. So you can convert it to whatever time zone you are in. So with that out of the way, now let me just give you a quick glance of how we proceed with the webinar. So the way we proceed is we'll go over EURUSD followed by crude oil, gold, S&P, Nifty, and then Bitcoin in the end. And lastly, before we begin with the actual webinar content, I have been keeping a track record of all the video content and webinars that I have produced since 2016, and my accuracy in total stands above 80% for all those years consecutively, as you can see with this track sheet. This can be, by the way, found at 50eyes.com/forecast accuracy, and you can check everything here for yourselves, because we have the date, the instrument name, and the link of the webinar or video, right? And since 2022, I started conducting these weekly webinars called Trading Opportunities. And for checking the record of that, you can visit, as I said, 50eyes. Market Analysis YouTube channel, and then the live or the stream section. Right. So with that being said, now let's head over to our actual charts. So here's the first one on screen, Euro USD. So before the webinar started, my view was, or it currently still is, something like this, that we have a wave one here, and this is proceeding as an A up, B down, and a C up. Now, as a flat, it will complete the wave two, and once the wave two is complete, we want to see another leg down. The condition being that I do not want to see this market cross higher than 1.08708. If it does that, then there's a very high chance that there's a very high chance that this market is not really what do you call going to go lower, because in a running flat kind of correction, the market should stop somewhere below the high, let's say somewhere below this white box. And it could also be the case of the irregular flat or the expanded, whichever word you would like to use, in which case it can go a little bit like this, which is a little bit rare. And given that we have a news event right now as we are talking, I can just click here and show Fed Chair Powell speaks 25th August, right? So you can see the time and this is the lifetime going on. So because of that, it is possible that we may get the less likely pattern, which is the expanded flat, which can take this market a little bit higher than the wave A high. But as I said, at that point, I will like to stay out of the market and let the market proceed for a while, clarify its position for a while. So what is the trade setup right now? The trade setup is that if it does things as I expect it to, that is if it completes the C and then starts to fall from here, then I will look to enter shorts below 1.07787. Now, second scenario is, as we just mentioned, it crosses the wave A high, in which case I will not enter the market right away. I'll let it, what you call, go through and form some bars and form some clarity before we can do anything about it. Right. So that's my quick take on Euro USD. And I also got a trigger on SPX. So we will see that as well. It is also at a important level. So it will be interesting to see how it reacts to the event. But for now, let's head over to our chart of crude oil, where we seem to be having a very clear kind of setup under formation. So firstly, some updates. I have simplified everything. So I'll discuss that simplified count from here on. Look at the spike, which is formed on, what is this, 4th May, right? Price level is around 63.712. This is our point of reference for this analysis, or what you call the starting point of this analysis. For after this POR, we seem to be having an impulse in the upward direction. For those of you new here, an Elliott wave impulse is a pattern which looks something like this: wave 1, wave 2, and wave 3, which seems to have completed. After which we should see a correction for wave 4, which is somewhere over here. And after that, a wave 5 should be in play. Now, if we compare the actual chart, we find very soon enough that wave 4 seems to be in place already, because the general characteristic trade of wave 4 is that it will complete itself by the 38.2 retracement level. So if we start the retracement level from point 0 to the completion of the impulse, or let's say from the start of the 3 to the end of the 3, we find that 38.2 is right across where I have this blue line at 78.102, and the market is already touched 78.102 and is seemingly in the going in the other direction. So if this count is correct, then I'll like to take some long trades. I have pushed an alert around 81.9. So if the market goes above 81.9, I personally will be interested in entering longs. And if the market goes below 38.2, then that would suggest that something else may be happening here, and this count may need to be updated or re-looked at basically. So long story short, crude oil, I'm personally looking to take long trades on this counter, right? And secondly, we have the clarity in the other direction. If the market goes and takes out the lower target, that is the 38.2 low, which is at 78.10 something, then we will have to wait and watch and redo the analysis. So that's about it for our discussion of crude oil. So I forgot to see here, there is a comment in the chat. Hi, Luis. Good morning to you as well. So one thing I wanted to discuss, I wanted to have a quick look at the trade I pulled on Euro. Let me see if it is clear enough to discuss in the webinar. Book profits on shorts, re-entered shorts. Yeah, so here is the quick trade I took. We'll add more shorts if there's a pullback. Added minus shorts as top is wide. So this is the trade I entered yesterday. So let me just show you on the actual chart itself. I mean the chart in the Slack which I posted, we were looking to take out the low 1.08. Basically, my entry was not the best entry, so that's why my position size was not very huge. As you can see, I did minor shorts, so that's why my position size was not very huge. However, we'll add more shorts if there's a pullback. However, I don't think that was on the cards, as the market just kept going lower, and it has almost reached our target. Let's see what happened afterwards. Book profit on shorts, as we are very near our downside target mark 1.0771. So this was our minimum target 1.08, and then after that this was the next target 0.77. So it was almost near there, and T minimum was crossed, so I exited the shorts. So again, after that, I don't think there is another short I took today itself. I think, yeah, it was a very fast trade. I entered only to take the downside for this wave 5. So minimum target was wave 3 low, and then after that was this 0.7710. I think it hit the target within a matter of a few minutes. Yes, almost 10 minutes, as you can see, 1:10 p.m. and 1:20 p.m. So within 10 minutes, it has touched our target minimum, and I exited. So all these trades and my continuous commentary on these markets, crude, euro, gold, BTC, etc., etc., is always posted in our Slack private group. If you are someone who wants to be a part of this, you can always send your inquiries via my contact us page, because the access to it is only request only. I don't take everybody in. You need to have a set minimum criteria to be able to enter this group. So anyways, if you're interested, here's the link 50s.com/contact us. Use the subject matter as inquiry for Slack private group. So that was the quick look at the trades I pulled on euro yesterday and today. And we have already discussed crude oil. So now let's head over to our discussion of gold. Now, gold is interestingly doing exactly as we discussed in the last webinar. So in the last webinar, I mentioned that squeeze in a little bit. Yes. So I mentioned that from this point of reference, where we may have completed a 1 or even an A, we seem to be having a flat correction. Now, a flat correction, let's say this is the point of reference we are talking, so it will look like this. Generally speaking, that's how a flat generally will look. So this is your point of reference. This will be our A. B will generally go lower than the start of A. It has already done that, as you can see, gone lower than the start of A. So in theory, it could be the B complete here, and then this could be progression up for C. Once the C is complete, we will see a downward leg, right? Second possibility is, which is the one I'm considering as the main possibility, is that B is still under play, in which case this market can go as low as 1857, let's say. 1856.96 is the level, but let's say 1857. So in case the wave B is still continuing, let me just move it here. Then this market can, as I said, go to 1857 and then make a move in the upward direction for the wave C of this flat correction. As you can see in the rough box that I've drawn, this is how I expect, or this is the main hypothesis which I'm expecting. So how will I play this? If this is really playing out, if this is still going down for the wave B from here, this is the A and this is the expected B. This is the A and this is the expected B. So if the market is really going down for this, then I'll be interested in taking sell positions below 1896. Right, so 1896 is the current trigger. It is not a trigger to enter shorts. It's just a trigger that I'll just come back and see how things are looking. And if they are looking like favorable for the bearish movement, then I'll be considering shorts. So it below 1896, basically I'll be looking for selling this counter. And as I discussed, the secondary possibility was that, let me just change the color for a second, that this is heading higher for a C and then it will go down for the, that is, it will complete the C over here and then it will go down for the next leg down. So it doesn't really matter which country is it following, because my trigger is set quite low, and in both these cases, it should be able to capture the downward movement. It doesn't matter which count downward movement arises from, right? So with that being said, that's our setup for gold. I personally will be looking for selling opportunities below 1896, and I've discussed both the hypothesis. If it is getting a little bit confusing, then just watch the recording, rewind it back to the starting point, and plot both hypotheses on your own charts. That should clarify things. And I'm not saying Elliott Wave is simple or anything. I don't personally believe everybody gets these multiple possibilities. But as I said, if you draw them on your own charts, like have multiple charts like me, I have two charts of gold right now, two charts of euro, and three of WTI crude oil, and two of S&P. So you get the point. It is not going to be as simple as you might like to think, but I've told you the simplest possible way to follow this analysis. So that's about it for my take on gold. Now let's head over to S&P, which I want to see what happened. Okay, so there is a spiky movement here, which is generally something that happens during news events. Now let's see what my analysis was. So this analysis was done before the event started. The analysis basically is, yeah, let's go with the bearish count first. I have both possibilities pointed out on this counter. Let's go with this bearish count and see what it is saying. So if the bearish possibility is to be considered, then we are assuming, remove everything. Then we are assuming that we have an impulse complete here, let's say degree, wave 1 of some degree. And this is the wave 2 of some degree, which I have counted as a W, X, Y, X, Z triple zigzag. Now, that's all well and good, but we are really interested in this leg down. So now let's zoom into it. So this leg down is being counted as an impulse in the downward direction, and we have the wave 1 down, the 2 up, the 3 down. The 4 has overexpanded, extended, whatever you will call. But then again, we had an event, so that was expected. So an Elliott wave impulse structure is basically made up of 5 legs, which I have drawn here on the right hand side. And if you compare it with the actual chart, this is the wave 4, which has expanded a little bit too much. Generally, the wave 4 will end near the 38.2 level. And in this particular case, it has gone a little bit above the 38.2 with a spike. So it's all right. We can still consider it as a all right count. Now the follow through is that it will go down. Actually, you know what? I'll just take a sell trade here because it is just about to trigger my short alert anyways. So what I'll do is create a partial position right now, and if it goes as I'm thinking it should, then I'll add more. So there I've entered a sell here. Stop loss in this case should be the wave 4 high, but I think we don't need to keep that big of a stop. Anywhere around 4400 should itself be considered as a stop. So anyways, the point here is that I'm assuming that the wave 4 is complete, and if the wave 4 is complete, then one second, then the market can go sideways and then lower or straight down. In both cases, it should cross the low, which is on this chart at 4369 right now, and it is actually near our target anyways, which is 4366. So long story short, we are looking to see more downward movement. If things proceed as we expect them to, then it should take out the low of 4336 as well, and then go much lower. With that being said, let's just leave it as it is, current at 4400, and I can enter some more here. Yes, so I think that's about it for our S&P bearish count discussion. Let's now quickly have a look at the counter view, which is the bullish count. Now, here both possibilities are quite clear, so I had to consider it. In the bullish outlook, what we have here is that this market is, let me just squeeze in. This market from this point of reference around 4611 something something. You know what? I'll just go with the lower time frame count. The idea is that we have from this point of reference, which is around 4336, a leading diagonal in the upward direction, which is followed by a deep pullback. Now, deeper pullbacks are possible and is basically a sort of characteristic trait of leading diagonals. So I'm not very amazed with this huge pullback. However, what I am amazed with is a little bit is the strength of this move. This very much looks like an impulse. Even when leading diagonals give bigger pullbacks, they are mostly like a zigzag or flats or something, but this basically looks like an impulse. So that's why I discussed the bearish count first, as that is having a higher possibility of working out. But let's just consider that this is the actual count and the 2 is complete here, in which case we will have to consider this as the wave A down of the 2, B of the 2, and then C of the 2 is complete here, completing the wave 2 here. In this case, I can't really count this as a very proper move. We can think of it as a wave 1 of lower degree and wave 2 of lower degree, and then wave 1 of even lower degree followed by wave 2. Again, you get the point. This 2 does not really look like a 2. This leg is very, very impulsive looking. So that brings my bias to the bearish count, and that brings out the reason why I entered short position here. So that's about it. I think we will only consider the upside possibility if the market takes out the 4416. Until it does not do that, I don't see any point in paying the upside possibility any emphasis at all. With that being said, that's about it for our analysis as well as the trade I took on S&P. Now let's head over to our next trade on, not sorry, trade, next analysis, Nifty 50. Exceptionally well performing market, going as we discussed in our past meetings or past webinar, let's say. So what was the analysis? The idea which I've been pushing emphasis, or which I've discussed very clearly from the get-go, was that as long as market remains below the green trend line, I will only consider bearish possibilities. The count which we were following was that this was a W, this was an X, which was continuing, and it could go also more sideways and then continue lower. And by lower, I meant that it should take out this low of whatever that is, 1925.4, right? Now, as you can see here, it became quite clear that it is most likely heading lower as an impulse. So I am assuming that the wave axis complete over here at the price level of 1958.4. Time is around 24th August. Now let's quickly check what the real count is. 1 second. So I've added some more shorts on S&P. Yeah. So as I was discussing Nifty, we have what you call possible impulse currently continuing, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 3 complete, 4 sideways, and then 5th in the downward direction. Long story short, that we are still to take out the low of 19,229. At the very least, we should take out this low of 19,229. I was able to, by the way, capture part of this leg down. I was trading this thing live today. I should have possibly even Let's add one more and one more. So I have added now multiple shorts on S&P. Yes. So anyways, so what I was saying on Nifty was that I could have added some shorts on this counter, and the expectancy is that on Monday it will open gap down, but I decided to let take for what do you call a rest for the weekend, and if on Monday I see the price open within this range 19232 to 19329, anywhere between it, then I'll definitely look to consider selling this counter. Stop loss will of course be the high, which is around 19329. This is not a strict stop loss. The market may give a spiky movement here, but I am not expecting it to give anything above 19329. So yes, technically this is a stop to look out for, or level to look out for allocation of this analysis. So long story short, we are expecting a downward movement, and I have the targets already panned out after the market takes out the minimum, which is 19229. The next target is 19164, let's say. 19,164 is the next level we will be looking out for on Nifty spot. And also keep in mind, we are considering this leg down as an ABC. So once we have reached our targets or gone near them, we expect a pullback, which should again take out another low. So basically, long story short, two we are expecting two down legs, right, on Nifty. So one will be this, which is currently in progression most likely, which I expect can take the market to 19164, and after that there should be a correction, and then there will be this second leg. So all in all, unless the market goes higher than the 19320-ish level, I'll just look for short trades on this counter. That's about it for Nifty. Now let's head over to our last chart of Bitcoin. So Bitcoin has been playing out exceptionally well. I was able to take shorts on this, I think 2 times, if not more. I remember or recall very clearly 2 times I had taken shorts. Let's just quickly check. One on August 23rd, I did minor shorts. Where is that? Yeah, there it is. So I've been adding shorts. I did minor shorts. Yeah, there it is. On 17th August is the first big position I took on this counter. The market was trading around 1 second, 28547. And the idea was that it will go minimum to 28,100 and then lower to 27,000. Then I added some more shorts around 28,375. I think that was for scalping. Again, near 28,300 I added shorts. And then the market has gone and hit our target. It has gone below 28,300 where I exited. So something like 250 points, roughly speaking. Again, this is my commentary going forward with this market live. Targeted book profit on all shorts. Yes, so some profits were hit or exited around 28,300. The remaining were closed, I believe, at 28,000. Yes. So some at 28,300, others at 28,000. So roughly 500 points on some contracts and 300 something or 250 something on others. After the market went much lower, blah blah blah, I did minor shorts again. Let's see, where is that? Now again I have entered shorts at 25,864 or 865. target hit 25,520. So almost 300 points again on 23rd of August. That's about it. I did not take any more trades on Bitcoin. Whatever I've taken, I post in the Slack. So those were the quick discussions on the trades. And right now, I believe this is again forming a short setup. And I will be interested in taking shorts on this somewhere below 25,700. Now, what is happening here is I believe it is forming an impulse in the downward direction. If we remove the stuff on screen, here is what we think is happening. This is your double bracketed one. This is your double bracketed two. And this is your three. So after the four is complete, we expect the market to go lower. So since we are expecting that the four is already complete, it has gone not exactly at 38.2, but above 23.6. So practically it could still be progressing sideways. It could also be a W X and then a Y still heading higher. So both those possibilities still remain, but overall, whatever the case may be, even with those possibilities still kept in mind, we are going to see the market go lower, right? So in either case, I'm expecting BTC will give us a leg down and take out the minimum low, which is 25,314, and then head lower for at least two more legs as per this count. We'll have to figure out the exact targets here since I have not traded it for a good few days. I have not figured out that. But yes, I'll take it as a momentum trade if it takes out the low here. 25,677. So it looks like S&P has hit the target here. So I've taken half of the position off. And remaining I'll take off a little while later on. Right. So yes, that's about it for our trade on Bitcoin. Let me just show you what happened with S&P. So it is almost at the low. This is our target minimum, which is to once this alert line is hit, we will say that the target minimum is reached. So a little bit before that, I like to take the profits. I do not like to wait till the end of the target for the entire position. And right there it is. So I've closed all the shorts which I took in front of you guys. You may have heard the sound notification sound which comes in when I close or enter a position. So that's about it for the quick trades on S&P. I believe this does finish our entire discussion of the 78th Trading Opportunities webinar. I hope you enjoyed the analysis, the past trade discussion, as well as the live trade which I pulled in front of you guys. And if you did, I will request before you leave to hit the like button and definitely make sure to share the content with the, by the way, this is the count we are following, to share the content with your friends, colleagues, and whoever else trades, right? And lastly, before I proceed to close this session, I just want to point out again for those of you who may have missed that we have Slack group private access available on request only mode. If you want to request, you should contact us using the contact us page. Link is here and put in the subject matter as inquiry for Slack private group. That was about all, guys. And I would like to emphasize here one thing again, that you guys are not really sharing the content much. There has not been much of an improvement in the views or subscriber rate on this channel. So if you like to see this content more, you will have to share it. I do not run any advertisements. I generally don't have time for all that stuff. So it's all up to you guys. This is like 78th webinar. So if you guys are not sharing it now, so we need to pull the efforts. We already have the private group running. So eventually I can just close this and still continue doing my analysis with my own private audience. So I think I've said whatever I wanted to discuss and say here. So with that, I'll just close this webinar and see if I can take some more momentum trades on S&P. Take care, guys, and see you in the next one.